Am I the a-hole for refusing to talk to my parents until they give me an honest answer to my question? I, 17 male, live with my parents and my younger siblings. We were very close until recently. My first mom died when I was 6 days old. She developed eclampsia in late stages of the pregnancy with me and she never recovered from it. A few weeks later my dad packed up and moved with me because he couldn't stay where they were planning a life together. This left her family behind. She has parents, siblings, nieces and nephews, aunts, uncles and cousins who were always a very tight-knit family. My dad met my adoptive mom when I was 7 months old. Out of insecurity on my mom's part and a desire to forget the future he had planned with my mom, contact between my biological maternal side was limited to once a year. My mom didn't want to share the role of mom. She knew my family would want to talk about my mom around me and would want me to know that she existed. But she didn't want to feel like she was less of a true mom. And my dad has just never gotten over the pain of losing my mom and he buries the past and her to cope. I don't fully understand why they couldn't put me first in that decision. But they didn't. My childhood was mostly happy. It had some negatives like wishing I knew my family better or had known my mom. Also I wasn't accepted by my adopted mom's family, so that was always fun. Then I had more contact with my family. It started with texting, calling and Zoom calls regularly and then convincing my dad to let me go for a weekend here and there. He and my mom did not like it and the decision confused my siblings too. I have loved getting to know them and they have loved getting to know me. Grandparents' rights weren't an option for them because of that one visit a year. So seeing me more is huge for them. My parents really started to let me know how much they disliked all this extra contact. My dad said it's painful and my mom told me she feels less important because I am chasing a relationship that ties to a mom I don't remember. A couple of weeks ago they told me I should think of them and my mom's feelings. I asked them how they would feel if they were in my mom's shoes or her family's shoes. If they died while their child was just a baby and they were erased by their spouse and his new spouse, would they be okay with that? And would they be okay if my siblings or I died with a newborn and they never got to be a real part of their lives? They refused to answer. I told them I didn't want to speak until they gave me an answer because they were being totally unfair to me. My parents are angry about this and my siblings asked me why I had to make this such a big deal. So I posed the question, if one of us died and we never got to see their only child, would they be okay with that? It helped them to understand, but my parents don't like my no talking thing. But all they want to talk about is this topic. And they also won't give me an answer. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. You have a right to see your birth mom's family and have a relationship with them. They refuse to answer. They can't answer because they would feel exactly as you do, but still want you to not have a relationship with your material family because it threatens the new family they created. She knew my family would want to talk about my mom around me and would want me to know that she existed. This is just cruel to you and your maternal family. Your younger siblings sound more mature than your dad or adopted mom.
Yes, exactly. Though I think for my dad it's less about the new family and more about his refusal to deal with his grief and pain. He doesn't even talk about his life at all from before. It's like the past is all stored in a box that he keeps trying to get rid of, but he can't and he never can. I know he also struggles to look at me sometimes because I look just like my mom and her family. So he could never entirely escape no matter how much he wanted to.
Not the a-hole. I'm sorry your parents are dealing with their own issues and not listening to what you're telling them. See if they would consider family counseling. Congrats on connecting with your wider family. Being loved by more people is a gift, not a problem.
Family therapy would not help us. My dad will not open up about the past. He is too closed off and unwilling to deal. He would need to go to individual therapy at the very least. While my mom would maybe agree to go, I think she would walk out if she was asked to accept the reality of her not being my only mom.
Ask your mom how she feels about her family not accepting you.
Not the a-hole. Just make it clear to them that you don't love them any less. But you want to have a relationship with all your family, not just them. And since you are referring to your stepmom as mom, that tells me you do love and see her as your mom. Try giving her a hug and tell her that you do love her. But you need to be a part of the rest of your family too.
Am I the a-hole? My ex-wife allowed our 16-year-old daughter to get a tattoo, and it looks godawful. I had to tell my daughter the truth. Here's the story. Tattoos are very common in my family. I myself am heavily tattooed. I am very lucky to have a supremely talented artist in my family, and he just so happens to be a tattoo artist. So admittedly, I'm a bit of a snob. Okay, in any event. When my daughter started asking about getting work done, I was fine with the idea. But I wanted her to wait until she turned 18, and to have my expert cousin do it for her. My ex-wife and her husband had other ideas. They had a family tattoo event last week. Did not tell me beforehand, and I found out afterwards that this was a deliberate decision. They didn't want to tell me for fear that I would disagree. Well, as the title indicates, this piece of work looks horrible. It's just a genuinely bad tattoo. So I told my daughter what I thought. I am disappointed that she was impatient and jumped into a big choice with little thought. Now no one over there will talk to me. My daughter won't answer the phone I pay for, her mother won't respond to me. I get the importance of a first tattoo, and in defense of the daughter, she did have a good concept behind it. She was trying to honor her great-grandmother. She just jumped the gun and in the process, now has a shitty tattoo on her body. Should I have just stayed quiet? Am I wrong? I'll be happy to fill in more details if helps you all reach an answer.
I would think that if you told your young daughter that she made a permanent mistake on her body, then it is not surprising that she is upset. What's the point of doing that except to make her feel bad? You need not lie about it. You can focus on what a loving, big-hearted girl she is by honoring her great-grandmother. If you have stories about the great-grandmother, then share them with your daughter. You are best to talk with your ex to get in some sort of agreement on making such decisions jointly as parents. If you two cannot find a way to figure out how to work together, then more one-sided decisions will happen in the future around your daughter. You don't want that. If nothing else, then at least steer her to a better tattoo artist.
I don't blame her for being mad at me. I really don't. I just need some outside opinions, so thank you. I truly appreciate it. I probably could have stated my concerns a little better.
Soft, everyone sucks here, the biggest a-hole being your ex-wife. Something like a tattoo on a minor should be something both parents agree on. Honestly, I think it's no wonder she ended up with a shitty tattoo. Most good tattoo artists are able to be picky enough with their clientele that they won't tattoo minors. Extremely poor parenting on your ex-wife's part. As for you, I get where you're coming from, but it was already done with. No use in making her feel bad about something she cannot change. I can't really call your daughter an a-hole because she has a dumb parent, Mom. I remember when I started getting piercings with my own money as an adult, and my parents shamed me for it, saying it looked bad, even though it made me feel pretty. It was a bad feeling. I didn't want to talk to my parent after that, mainly because I never asked their opinion in the first place, but also because I liked how it looked. I felt ugly, embarrassed of myself when I looked at them. I imagine she feels similarly.
I see where you are coming from. I could have done better.
You said your piece, and now it's time to drop the subject. Just as a side point, the line, "won't answer the phone I paid for," can lead your brain down a damaging path. Paying for something doesn't give you rights over her behavior or make her beholden to talking to you. Letting yourself talk that way, even in your head, reinforces a toxic and relationship-damaging way of viewing your parental duties. Don't do that to yourself or her. No a-holes here.
You know what? You're right. I'll need to be more careful about that sort of thing in the future. Update. Just apologized to her, and she was gracious enough to accept. Looks like I might be off the hook on this one. That was a close one. Lesson learned.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories.